They're not going to back it. And if only 3 of them refuse to back it, that's it. It's defeated. One of the key industry players pushing for the return of the ABCC is Wilhelm Harnisch from the Master Builders Association, who joins me now. Thanks for your time this afternoon.
Good afternoon, David.
Now, we already have the Fair Work Building Commission in place. What's the difference? Why do we need the ABCC?
Look, the Fair Work Commission, the Fair Work Building Commission has played an important role. It demonstrates a commitment by the then Labor government to at least do something about the thuggery and intimidation in the building industry. But what it's done, it has watered down the powers of the previous ABCC. It has watered down the fines. And what you've seen, David, is during that time we've had an increase in thuggery, we've had an increase in convictions, we've had an increase of a whole range of matters that were raised in the Hayden Royal Commission.
Do you accept there's also been an increase in productivity, though?
No, well, it's what we're saying. Our report clearly shows that there's been a productivity loss. Look, one of the
because Labor and the unions say it's actually the other way around. They say that productivity's gone up.
Look, David, it doesn't make sense. That argument doesn't hold water. When a union can shut down a building site, when they can demand which contractors can work and when they can demand certain wage conditions, when you've got an EBA right here which clearly says productivity schemes will be prohibited. This is written into a union agreement. No one can argue that they are productivity enhancing. So the argument that it is actually enhanced productivity simply doesn't hold.
Now, what particular powers are you talking about when you say the ABCC has important powers that the Fair Work Building Commission does not?
There are 3 things. One is the compulsory interrogation powers, which obviously it's been hotly contended and contested out there. Look, the government has listened to the concerns. They are putting provisions in there where a lawyer can be present.
But a lawyer of your own choosing?
Well, you read the Act, it's quite clearly there. It is also, the Ombudsman will report to the Parliament. They have a right of review. So there's a whole lot of provisions being put in place. The second one is that it allows or prohibits the unions from forcing the employer to enter in an agreement, which means at the moment under FWBC, no action can be taken by the FWBC because so-called the deal's been concluded and no further action is possible. And the most important one is that under the FWBC, the penalties have been reduced by 2/3, which means the penalties that are owing when the CFMU and the building unions are found guilty are minimal. And what that has done is simply emboldened the unions to continue because there's no financial penalty. So, you know, these are 3 important measures that will be reintroduced.
Let me ask you this. If the government doesn't succeed this week on this, it goes to a double dissolution. It would have to win that double dissolution election, then hold a joint sitting sometime after that in, July or sometime after that. You wouldn't get this thing instated until the second half of the year. You would obviously prefer it to pass this week and get up and running now. Would you like to see the government working harder on negotiating this through, even if it does mean some amendments on the edges?
Look, my understanding the government has been negotiating quite assiduously with the backbench. We've certainly been engaging with the crossbench senators that are important to this bill. It is quite clear that at least 3 are unlikely to vote regardless what is being negotiated. In fact, they simply have said they won't pass the bill, so it's not a matter of negotiating with those 3 senators. They simply have said they won't vote for the bill regardless of
some of them have said they'd rather have a national corruption watchdog.
Look, they're missing the point, and I think they're deliberately listening to the unions on this one, because this is about industrial relations. I think the issue about corruption is a separate matter. What the ABCC bill will do, however, is to tackle the very culture that can lead to an environment where corruption can flourish. And I think if we can stop it at source, then the need for a corruption watchdog, which is separate to this, becomes perhaps redundant.
And what about the idea, I think David Wilhelm's put forward, of a sunset clause?
We can live with the sunset clause. I think the government is willing to accept that. So, you know, we can live with an 8-year sunset clause. I think during that time it will demonstrate the positive benefits of what the ABC can do for the community.
And finally, if this doesn't happen, if the ABCC is not returned one way or another, What's your scenario? What's your forecast for the building industry itself?
Look, we're happy for the government to have this as a key election platform. I think we're happy for in the rule of law to come back, where the mums and dads can get affordable schools and hospitals. We're happy for the government to fight on this as a major issue, because what it'll mean, it's basically saying that this government and us are wanting for building sites to be like normal workplaces where people can come to work every day without having fear of being bullied and intimidated, and more importantly, for women to come to work without the fear of being verbally abused and intimidated of the type that's been brought before the courts.
We'll see what happens over the next 24 hours or so. Wilhelm Harnisch from the Master Builders Association, thank you.
Thank you, David.
Now, the other announcement from the government amidst all of this today was on offshore patrol vessels, the surface fleet of the Navy, and the commitments to actually build in Australia, in Adelaide and in Western Australia, 12 offshore patrol vessels and 21 of the Pacific patrol boats, this on top of the future frigates that are already committed to be built in Australia. Who will actually be the winning